it changes as it goes down towards the hand. But let's start from that. So start from a circle. So let's grab a circle. Now I want to orient it in a different direction. So to do that, we can select the circle and just change the plane. Right now it's using the XY plane, and we want it to use the YZ plane. So ZY. And then let's just kind of move it up and over and sort of into position here. We also do want to rotate it. So I'm going to rotate it to kind of match the angle at the end there. And let's take the radius of that circle down and kind of move it into position here. So I want to overlap it a little bit with that. And I want to make it a little bit bigger, match that angle a little bit better. And actually, if I click off of this, it looks like that it actually is pretty large. So we need to actually shrink it down a little bit just because we can't see it because of the axis there. So I think something like that. Change this axis a little bit so we can see it. That just changed from world to object and back. So if I just change to world, that'll let us just see this a little bit better. And whenever we smooth things, they're going to lose a little bit of volume. And so I'm going to overshoot this size a little bit. Okay, so it looks like it's kind of in the right spot. We'll be able to kind of move things around a little bit, but I think it's in a pretty good spot. So what we want to do now is we want to create geometry between a series of these curves. So I'm just going to control drag the circle, and I'm going to move it down here, and let's increase our radius and just kind of match it up with what we see in our view. And then I'll make another copy. And then as we start to come down here, it's going to need to be a little bit bigger. So something like that. Let's create another copy here. And then we need to start curving this in a little bit. So let's make another copy right here. And I want to just match up the top of that. And then let's make another one. And we'll pull this one kind of right out to here. So looking at this, if we were to create geometry straight through this, it looked pretty good up until here, and then it would be really, really wide. So let's see what that looks like. We'll go ahead and add the generator that we're going to use. So we're going to use a loft. So we're going to go in the same spot that we found the sweep, but this time we're going to choose loft. And we're going to grab all these splines and drop them inside of that loft. So now you can see that we've got some geometry that's being generated. And basically it's taking the spline and is creating geometry between here and here, and then here, and then here, and then here. And so the order of these really matters. So if we were to change the order, it's going to really mess things up. You can see here. So we want to make sure to have the order of those splines correct. Okay, and here you can see that all these are in the right order. Okay, let's go ahead and take the cap off. So I don't need a cap. I'll go ahead and leave the cap off on both ends. And then as we start to come down here, this is where we want to start to change the shape of this. And we could do like an ellipse if we wanted to. Oops. But we really need to have a little bit more control over it. You can see here we can do our ellipse and make it thinner, which is kind of what we want. Like that. But in order to have a little bit more control over things, let's go ahead and make that editable. So we'll make that spline editable. And then let's take our points. And I'm just going to move these up a bit. So I'll pull those up. This one, pull up there. and start to pull these up. Next spline, we can do the same thing. So make that editable, grab those points, begin to pull those points up, and just start to create a thinner end to this. And I just want to make it so that it's fairly kind of a smooth transition there. This one as well. You can kind of grab that. And then if you want to take all the rest of these, make those editable, and you can make any modifications that you want to those. Let's grab that and I'm trying to make it kind of a smooth transition there. Let's kind of pull this one out a little bit. And then we can come in here and see kind of what that looks like. So right now you can see that it's a little bit, it's not really giving us the shape that we want here. So we can take these ones on the side. You can see that we've got these Bezier handles, and so I'm just going to kind of scale those down a little bit. And then kind of move that up so we get a little bit more of like a curved shape there. And come in here and let's just match it up. It's not going to go all the way to the end. That's okay because we're going to fill that in. But something like that. And then for this one we can do kind of something similar. Let's take these 2 points on the sides. Let's kind of scale these down a little bit so we get a little bit more of like a curved shape there. And then that one we can kind of bring up a little bit more. And then we're getting a little bit of kind of a lump right there. And so we can come in here and just tweak that so that it's a little bit smoother. So kind of scale that out a little bit. And then let's also take that point up on the top. I'm just going to bring that up slightly. So we can just go through and kind of tweak the shape of this until we get what we want. Okay, so once we get it to this point, let's go ahead and come in the next lesson and kind of convert this to polygons, and we'll fill it in just kind of like we did as far as the conversion goes with this part of the arm.